Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello, faithful Squiz Kids listeners, and welcome to the Kids vs. Adults Weekly News Squiz. Your chance to see who's had their listening ears on and been paying the most attention to the week that just was. I'm Bryce Corbett. All week in the Squiz Kids Today podcast, we've been bringing you the big news stories of the day, run through our kid-friendly filter to make sure you know all you need to know about the world around you. Now, it's time to test how much of the week's news you've retained, and in the process, see who's smarter, kids or adults. Plus, of course, because it's a Friday, we've got all today's birthday shout-outs and all the shout-outs for the weekend coming, including the birthday reggae tune, because it wouldn't be a Friday without it. So, here's how the quiz works. 5 questions for kids about the weekend news, then 5 questions for adults. Whoever answers the most correct questions wins. Simples. You ready? Let's do this. All right, kids, here are your 5 questions. Question number 1. Taylor Swift played to the biggest concert audience of her career at the MCG last weekend. Was it A, 96,000 people, B, 25,000 people, or C, 125,000 people? That's right, it was A, 96,000 people. Question number 2. In the podcast this week, we heard about a bear that broke into a woman's car in Florida, apparently attracted by what sitting on the front passenger seat? Was it A, a pot of honey, B, a bunch of broccoli, or C, a box of Valentine's Day chocolates? Well done if you said C, a box of Valentine's Day chocolates. And you thought it was a bunch of broccoli, didn't you? I mean, as if a bear would break in to eat a bunch of as if anyone would break in to eat a bunch of broccoli. Question number 3. The Aussie women's cricket team beat which other country's team in a one-day, one-off test match in Perth this week? Thanks in no small part to Annabelle Sutherland's double century. Well done if you said South Africa. Question number 4. Squizzy the Newshound was busy this week sniffing out a fake story that claimed, incorrectly, that Taylor Swift and her boyfriend Travis Kelce had hired out which famous American theme park to have all to themselves. Was it A, Universal Studios, B, Disney World, or C, Warner Brothers Movie World? Yes, that's right, it was B, Disney World. That would be quite fun though, wouldn't it? Question number 5. We heard in the podcast this week how NASA, the American Space Agency, is looking for 4 people to spend a year inside a big shed in the middle of a desert in the United States, going on pretend spacewalks, trying to grow vegetables in red sand, to see what it would be like to live on which planet in our solar system. And I'll give you a hint, it's the 4th planet from the Sun, and also often known as the Red Planet. Yeah, that's right, I'm talking about the planet Mars. How did you go, kids? How many did you get right out of 5? Do you reckon that's enough to beat the adults? Yeah, I reckon so too. Okay, adults, now it's your turn. Fire up the grey matter. Here we go. Question number 1. Our Prime Minister last week announced he was getting engaged. What is the name of his fiancée? Yes, that's right, her name is Jodie Hayden. Question number 2. Aussie WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange had a date with the High Court in the UK this week to fight extradition to which country? Yeah, that's right, it's to the United States. Question number 3. Brad Banducci made a name for himself this week after a less than stellar Four Corners TV interview, followed by him resigning as CEO from which iconic Aussie company? I am, of course, talking about Woolworths. Question number 4. Name the Russian opposition leader who this week dominated international headlines following his sudden death in Siberia. That's right, Alexei Navalny is the answer. Question number 5. The NRL is shaping up for an all-star season launch weekend next week. In which US city? Yes, of course, it's Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas, baby. How did you go, adults? How many did you get right? Did you beat the kids? Who won bragging rights this week? If you've missed any of these cool news stories throughout the week and you want to refresh your memory, all of this week's Squiz Kids episodes are available for a re-listen wherever you get your podcasts. Well, that's the end of the quiz, which means it's now time for...
Shout-outs.
It's Friday, February 23. Today is the Emperor's birthday in Japan, a very important public holiday there. And it's also National Banana Bread Day in the United States, which I would submit is an equally important day, especially for those of us who love banana bread. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today and over the coming weekend. And because there's so many of you, let's crack out the old birthday reggae tune. Hit it. And it's a happy birthday to Alera from Goodna, Matthew from Hazelwood Park, Cooper from Thaguna, Brooke from Glenmore Park, Jimmy and Georgie from North Ainsley, Robert from Turramurra, Audrey from Brisbane, Harriet from Lura, Tommy from Umina Beach, Zoe from Sandhurst, Malachi from Bruce, Mason from Kilsyth, Tilly from Mount Pleasant, Millie and Ollie from Middle Harbour, Ewan from West Geelong, and Samuel, who's listening all the way over there in Singapore. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Ebony from Bruce, Zoe from Yass, Brooke from Glenmore Park, Archie from Mount Waverley, and Eva from Liverpool. And finally, a special shout-out to Annie and Frida and all the kids at Holy Family Catholic Primary School in Menai in Sydney. Annie and Frida, it was a pleasure hanging out with your dad Chris this week. Well, that's all we have time for. I hope you're enjoying these quizzes. Don't forget there'll be a new one dropping first thing every Friday morning. And the best bit, they're absolutely free. Just as our other excellent content is free too. We're talking a Squiz Kids Today news podcast on Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, a Squiz Kids shortcut or a Squiz the World every Tuesday, and for all the teachers out there, there's the Classroom Companion. Our teacher-produced classroom activity sheets, curriculum aligned and tied to the daily pod on Mondays, and whose entire back catalogue is now available to be searched via our website. Genius. Check it all out at squizkids.com.au or simply subscribe to Squiz Kids in your favourite podcasting app and all this wonderful audio content will magically appear. For now, this is Bryce Corbett signing off and reminding you to get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.